Hey class, today I'm going to be talking about music, specifically how the African American working class uses music as a device to express their grievances about their current socioeconomic status. Researchers at Stanford University have said that, quote, listening to music seems to be able to change brain functioning to the same extent as medication. They noted that music is something that almost anybody can access and makes it an easy stress reduction tool. As it is widely known, African Americans suffered unspeakable treatment during their time as slaves in America. One way that they could cope with their reality was through song. Songs like Go Down Moses and I Be So Glad When the Sun Goes Down combined religious roots with describing their horrible treatment. Singing these songs together offered a sort of healing process. Though times changed, the reason behind singing these beautiful hymns and folk songs did not. As the early 1900s approached, Zora Neale Hurston compiled songs and sermons dating back to her childhood in Eatonville, Florida. Most of these songs were sung by African American men that worked in the timber mills and suffered physical and mental abuse by their white overseers. Hurston maintains that she was trying to show the lived experience and how they were creating a vibrant and beautiful language. The songs were a distraction to just get through the day, and that's exactly what they had to do in order to bring home a paycheck for their families. The majority of the lyrics of these songs is mainly describing the mundane things that occur in the everyday lives of these laborers. You'll see lyrics like, I've got a mule named Jerry, and I've got a woman, she's shaped like jelly, on display. These lyrics highlight a duality to why these laborers sang songs. For one, it was what they were looking forward to after work, but it also created a black working class culture. It was about every black working class man's struggle. Then came the Harlem Renaissance, a period of artistic expression and economic prosperity for African Americans. Though racism was still abundant, this was the first time where massive amounts of blacks were beginning to move up in the world. The music of the time reflected this balance. B.B. King's blues was a remembrance of the pain African Americans suffered in the past. By the parlor of an old gaslight, he did a lazy sway. He did a lazy sway, to the tune o' those weary blues. With his ebony hands on each ivory key, he made that piano moan with melody. O blues, Langston Hughes, the weary blues. As a fellow artist and poet of the Harlem Renaissance era, Langston Hughes understands the motives for the blues better than anyone. It was a lamentation, getting out pent-up sadness about African Americans in the working class and their current situation. But there was a new wave of music in the air. Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington's jazz was an instrumental expression of emotion. It was an upbeat, new and fun form of music. Embraced by all colors, this music was perhaps the embodiment of the hope working class African Americans had for the future. Fast forward to the 21st century, and working class African Americans may make music that sounds a little different, but its message is still the same. Revolutionists like Tupac and Jay-Z pioneered rap in exposing themes like gang life in poverty-stricken areas, systemic racism, and the struggle in trying to get a better life for your children. Childish Gambino's This Is America does an excellent job of exposing how working class African Americans have boundaries put in place for them, like a lower quality education and the trap of welfare, among other things. His lyrics, you just a black man in this world, driving expensive foreigns, you just a big dog, yeah, I kenneled him in the backyard, no proper life to a dog, for a big dog, is a perfect example of everything we've been talking about. Black people are fenced into a system that is not built for them to succeed. If we sift back through the records of African American music throughout history, more often than not, there's a social message behind every piece. Davy D, the famous African American songwriter and producer of the 1980s, who was a pioneer of rap, said that when brothers start flexing the verbal skills, it always reflects what's going on politically, socially, and economically, further entrenching the idea that African American music often exposes working class issues. Lastly, much like the blues or rap, I want to come full circle in an improvisational way. So I'm not using any script or any notes or anything, I'm just talking. And I really think the worry of the working class today that is exposed through music is that they're still not satisfied with their lives. They're still exposing new issues. They're still exposing police aggression towards African Americans, or their inability to move up their socioeconomic ladder, how they're staying put in these communities even though they want to get out of them. And they're always pushing towards advancement because they have this, I think it's this fear of returning back to their old status, back to their oppressed status. And they ultimately want a better life for their kids. And they truly use music as a tool to expose these injustices. And with that, thank you, God bless you, and good night.